Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Zeus is a constant friend. His eyes
What's the matter, baby? That was beautiful. Don't even try, girl, because you can blow too. Yeah, but you got that type of voice you could really make it. This is for church. What's wrong with you, girl? I don't know, I just been thinking about things. My mother thinks singing is dead end, no security. And that's cool, Rita. But what do you think? I don't know. Look, let's do the song I was doing, but this time let's do it together. I can't sing with you, girl. Come on. You with it. You take this out, and I'll take the bottom. Just try it. I sing
because I'm happy,
and I sing
because I'm free.
his eye is on the sparrow. Please don't stop. See you later, Rita.
So, as you can see in the film Sister Act 2, we have the character Rita who's dealing with so much. Like, she is trying to figure out how to communicate with her single mother. She's trying to navigate a Catholic high school environment. She's also a leader in her classroom. She's trying to navigate friendships and boys, relationships, power dynamics, the Catholic Church. And where is she storing all of these feelings? Because most of the time when she gets home, she's just doing homework. And then also in the film, they describe uh, inner city issues around poverty because, like, the school doesn't have money. And so it's actually about to shut down. So I think that Rita, specifically, this character profile, could use some help, navigating her emotions. And maybe if she saw other people processing those emotions, it might help her figure out better coping strategies. This is where something like the feelings wheel comes in. So the feelings wheel is this like circle of emotions described or clustered by color, which help you break down different feelings you might feel in a day. And most of the feelings are not positive and happy. And I think those are the ones that we need a character like Rita to unpack. So this is why I've been working on this sort of like music and data app specifically to help black female artists or women of color like see that other women and I've seen like mostly like women in the 90s and before have already gone through this process where they worked through so many like social issues, but the new artists who are coming out only seem to be focused on like relationships with men and not other social issues that they're confronting in society, which is why I feel like a lot of people are kind of boring. And maybe we should actually start looking to older artists. So I just pulled out some of my favorite artists from like the 90s, basically, and the 2000s. There's recent artists too. And I just pulled out some of my favorite songs by those artists. Now, these are just artists that like I listened to and I liked. And I feel like they have done a really great job of telling their stories through like clothes and art and words and storytelling and music videos and collaborations. And I just want to like share with you guys some of the things that I've experienced with these artists. So the first artist that I'm going to like break down is the artist Brandy. So a lot of people know Brandy because of Ray J and Ray J because of Kim Kardashian, but Brandy had a whole TV show, Moesha, and a series of songs about her adolescence and growing up. That's actually the reason she got the television show, because in her artistry, like she wrote all these songs about her being like a teen girl and working through her emotions. So, and in a way that wasn't exploitative at all. Like it didn't involve sex at all. So that's incredible for a black girl nowadays. Then you have Maya. I think Maya is very interesting. Like a lot of Maya songs, I think, are focused on her relationship with a guy. Like throughout her career, Maya has just been processing her relationships with men. She's also never been married, so that could be very interesting. She found a way to make it to like 50 without being married or have children. And she seems to be living a pretty happy life. So just unpacking her portfolio might be useful for some people. An artist I like nowadays, she's very current, is like Ruth B. She's from Canada. I feel like she does a really great job of writing about like modern day situations. She talks about like dirty Nikes and, you know, being lower income. It's just a really unique perspective that doesn't come from a place of privilege. So none of her songs are about, you know, stunting on, like she doesn't talk about other women at all, and she actually doesn't like hyper focus on any one guy. It's more about like her interpretation of the relationship. Obviously, people know Sierra. Sierra is just a prolific artist, but I think her videos just do a great job of her like telling different stories about her being a girl in Atlanta, kind of like a hot, popular girl in Atlanta, and all the things that she deals with, from like you know, cheating and having multiple, you know, guys hit on her, and but her being more like, no, you know, I'm gonna keep it in the bag. So that's what Goodies is all about. And she's just like a great dancer. So she's just like the black pop girl, like Sierra is that. And then we've got like Ashanti. So I think Ashanti is like, man, I think she does a really good job of putting a voice to maybe what a lot of like black actresses feel. Like especially the song Movies. Like her whole self-titled album Ashanti is really about like her finding herself as like a woman in the world, how she like wants to be glamorous, like these women on TV, but then like her boyfriend is like cheating on her, and she has Neil Long in some of the videos. It's really incredible. Like I would highly encourage people to just go back and like really like watch her music videos and listen to her tell these stories. Then obviously we've got Aaliyah. So as you can see just in this video, I mean, she's like a black girl with a swoop, black lipstick, green eyeliner, and an owl. Like Aaliyah is just about style. Like she's just like a style cultural icon. She made being a tomboy cool. All of her songs, I mean, Timbaland produced them all, so the tracks are just hot. It sounds like she sampled a lot of like Indian beats too to like make these melodies hot. And her music videos are where it's at. Like if you just go watch as many Aaliyah music videos as you can find, you'll kind of get it. It's the style, it's the dress. That is kind of what's cool. So Monica is also just incredible too, because she's like that one artist who stays in her feelings. Like Monica gets deep in her feelings. Like I think the best song here is like One of Them Days. She just goes in like, you know, sometimes I just don't want to be bothered. A lot of people, you know, have those stereotypes about the angry black woman, but it's like Monica puts words to it in a way where it's like, it's okay to be that angry black woman. Like sometimes you just feel those feelings, and that's normal too. And I think some people need to hear and see that. Now, everybody knows Beyonce, yes, but I think some people have not been able to like really unpack Lemonade for the work of art that it is. I was not even a Beyonce fan before Lemonade. I'm sorry, like I respect her as a talented onstage artist because she is, but Lemonade brought out a different level of artistry. And you have the cinematography, the graphics, the looks. Like she came with outfits, man. Like the whole Lemonade film experience changed music. I don't know what else to say about that. Rihanna obviously she's gone through a lot of genres with each album, which is, and so some of the albums I was not really a fan of, but Talk That Talk, definitely a fan of. That entire, like, Fresh Off the Runway. I think I loved it when Rihanna went from basically cocky to fashionista. Like, that just did it for me. I completely feel it. Like, to this day, that music just resonates with me. I also think that a lot of what Rihanna has gone through in her personal life, she has been able to trigger into her music. So coming back with songs like Hard, I think it's just incredible. She's just done a lot for women having attitude. Like, she's a girl with an attitude. And I think Willow probably grew up watching that, so was able to, like, get inspiration at least from that. But I really appreciate how Willow has taken her own perspective as this, like, art school girl and been able to put songs to her personal lived experience. Like, I actually don't know, I couldn't say any artist that I feel like she's actually pulling from. I really feel like she's writing from her own journal, which I appreciate so much, because, like, those are the voices I feel like we need to hear in this generation. Now, I do think maybe Willow might pull from her brother, Jaden, possibly. And then we've got Janet Jackson. Now, I'm a huge fan of Michael Jackson, but growing up, I gotta say, like, I was not a fan of Janet Jackson. I just never listened to any of her stuff ever. I've never bought a Janet Jackson album, but I do love music videos. So some of them, when they would come on, I would watch them. But to be honest, I still didn't resonate, because, like, when I grew up, Aaliyah was, like, the main thing. So Janet Jackson was, like, old school to me. So I don't know, but those are the videos that, like, watching some of her videos now, I do understand how she inspired other women. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about how I'm going to take that feelings wheel and some of the data that I just showed you. So I have, like, a list here of videos and actually turn this into a recommendation engine. So I know you guys know how, like, iTunes makes recommendations on songs that you can play. Like, it'll play a song, you play a song from your library, and then it'll just keep playing more and more and more songs based on what other people like. But I still think those recommendations are not specific enough, because the catalog is just too large. And I know there's, like, the general human experience, but I think that there are some things that are cultured in terms of, like, race and class that really break down to where you need an artist who kind of, like, looks like you in order to, like, resonate with their experience. And that's where I think that sentiment analysis comes in. So these are just basic moods, but I showed you guys that feelings wheel that takes it to, like, an entirely different level. And to be able to apply those categories to, like, every single song and try to understand for one song, like, how many aspects of that sentiment analysis wheel does that kind of check off. And so I'm going to introduce you guys to a project that I worked on for some time that might help you understand how this plays out.
I'm Cancel Esperance. I'm also an Intuit intern.
I'm Israel. I'm also an Intuit intern.
All right, now by a quick show of hands, how many of us have a playlist we listen to when we're either happy or sad? All right, and how many of us have been in positions where you were the only one, and because of that, it sort of dwell on your mental state and cause you not to be as effective as you could be? By show of hands, how many of us have been in that position? All right, please keep your hands up real quick. I want you all to look to your left and look to your right. And this is exactly the problem we're trying to solve. So one of the issues we find is that there's two things we find. One, there's often the case where underrepresented minorities were a small fraction of the spaces that we're in, but even though we're a small fraction of that space, we're still a large population. And the problem is that oftentimes we're in these situations where we might deal with microaggression, racism, and all these other factors that affect our mental state. Now, as you've seen earlier, we all use music to cope. But the problem we find is that most of these music apps don't allow us to cater the music we want to listen to our current mood, or cater it in a way that helps us improve our mood. And that is exactly what we're trying to do. Our goal is to help underrepresented minorities in tech cope with the stress of being the only one through music. And we see music as a therapeutic way of going about doing so. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. As I stated earlier, this is our main target audience.
It's us.
So after several implementation issues, we don't have a working demo, but we sort of have a layout of what we envision would be our final product. So it's a pretty straightforward UI. You have a welcome screen, and you have a way with which we extract your current mood and your target mood. We take certain features, either through facial recognition, sentiment analysis, or through you manually inputting your mood, and then we try to match the song that fits that mood profile using a K-nearest neighbors algorithm or something of that sort. And then we play the song and show comments of users' experiences and how they felt about the song and so forth.
When we were building the demo, we used Rail, Postgre, and Arrowcode. And in the future, we're planning on actually building a mobile-first experience by building it on iOS.
So thank you to everyone who participated in our future study, because we are collecting data on the fellows because we want to actually implement the sentiment analysis. So when you log into our app, we want to recognize you, and we want to understand like your emotions, just because there's not many like neural net data sets with people of color. So we understand like we don't want to only classify like our fellows as angry just because maybe they're stoic. So we thank you. We've already collected like a lot of data, about like 10 images for all the fellows who participated, and we've kind of gone from happy to depressed or maybe like angry, right? And trying to understand like the way that your face changes when you're experiencing those emotions. So we're going to parse that data and then try to use that to create a neural net. So that's where we're planning on going with that.